The Pokemon Go set has introduced some crazy cool cards into the Pokemon trading card game, but the coolest one just might be this Alolan Raticate. Roll the intro. What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchanning here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game deck tech, and today we're taking a look at Alolan Raticate. This card has the ability, with some help of course, to instantly one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game, no matter what. And I think that is really cool. It has the attack Super Fang for 3 colorless energy. Put damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon until its remaining HP is 10. And now I know what you're thinking. How are we gonna get that 10 HP to 0 HP? And we have a couple of different ways to do it, but the way that I've decided to go about it is by using Butterfree from Fusion Strike. This Pokemon has the ability Tri-Colored Scales. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burned, confused, and poisoned. Now, this just does enough damage in order to knock out a Pokemon. You're getting 30 damage off of burned and poisoned, you only need to do 10. So there you go. That's your combo here. We have a couple of other support Pokemon in this deck to help it function and all come together. We are playing a 2-2 line of Bidoof and Bibarel with the Industrious Incisors ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards till you have 5 cards in your hand. Pretty straightforward. We're going to be using that as our draw engine, as well as one Crobat V. I know it's not usually, preferred to put 2 prize Pokemon in your single prize decks, but this deck really needs that dark asset ability to fill your hand to 6 at some points during the game. And we also play one Galarian Zigzagoon just in case we whiff our Butterfree, for example. We can target something later in the game to knock out with the Headbutt Tantrum ability. We do play 4 Scoop Up Nets to recycle Zigzagoons and or our Butterfrees, or even switch, and we have one Air Balloon to help our Crobat V switch as well. In terms of search, we have 2 Evo Incense, 3 Level Ball, 3 Quick Ball, and 2 Ultra Ball. These amounts of Pokemon search are very calculated in the sense that there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And there's a lot of Pokemon with different types of HP and evolutions and whatnot that basically make it so that you really need really need a bunch of different search options to find your Pokemon. We're also playing 2 trekking shoes to help us dig through our deck, and 1 Old Cemetery to serve the same purpose as Galarian Zigzagoon does. So you can play this down and it forces your opponent to bump the stadium in order to attach an energy to an already heavily damaged Pokemon at risk of knocking it out. In terms of supporters, we have 2 Boss's Orders, 2 Cynthia's Ambition, 3 Marnie, and 3 Research. Again, very wide spread of supporters here, but they all serve a specific purpose, and they're all very needed. Now, the last part I want to talk about this deck before we get into the gameplay is the energy. We have 2 Capture Energy, 4 Twin Energy, and 3 Darkness Energy, alongside 2 Dark Patch to help us power up our Alolan Raticates early on in the game. This is basically our way of accelerating and getting our Alolan Raticates to fill its attack cost in 1 turn. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can get our Raticates running pretty quickly. We can do some Dark Patch Retreat, Scoop Up Net shenanigans in order to fill all these requirements. And like I said, 4-4 line of Alolan Rattata Raticate here. So before I get into the video, I want to say thank you all so much for the support. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below, what do you think of this deck? What do you think of the idea? What can be changed? I see some people playing it with like this kind of build, but with Zoroark, and to kind of filter out having a bunch of different basic Pokemon and just getting what you need, which is another interesting way to play it. I have another idea in mind as well, which I'll get to later. But other than that, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy Pokemon trading card game content, I am posting new videos weekly or better, and I have a lot of cool decks coming out based around the Pokemon Go set. So feel free to subscribe if you like this kind of content. And without further ado, let's get into some games. Hopefully we get to go first, and we do take those. We're absolutely gonna go first, and I hope we get a good starting hand too. This one would have been good if we did have a basic, I must say. A basic Rattata would have been very nice here. but we'll wait and see. Gonna give away a little bit what we're playing to my opponent. This hand is actually pretty good as well. The only thing that would make it better is an energy, I must say. But that's okay. We do have the Goon in case we need to target something down. But going first, can't complain too much. Just like I said, we need an attachment pretty badly. And we are up against the Blissey. So that is going to be very good for us, I hope. So what I think we're going to go ahead and do, first we'll level ball, because we need a Bidoof, and hopefully Crobat's in the deck. Crobat is not in the deck, because why would it be, you know? Why would things be easy for us? We're going to go ahead and grab this Bidoof. I don't think we'll need this Zigzagoon in this matchup, just because, what's it called? Because Blissey heals a lot. We're going to grab another Rattata, and we're just going to pass. Now, I needed another Rattata there, because if they attach a powerful colorless energy, or even any energy from their hand, is actually just going to knock out our Alolan Rattata. So we got to make sure we get properly set up here. Now, we'll see if my opponent has anything. Blissey is usually a deck that gets going pretty quick. They play a lot of trekking shoes. Discarding their powerful colorless means they gotta have an energy in hand, and it's another powerful colorless. That Cave of Toughness won't do them much good here, and they're just gonna Blissful Blast and take the KO. The good thing is, like, we don't need, it doesn't matter how much damage they do, we're not scared of that. We are more fearful of the fact that, I just lost my train of thought, but that is an excellent top deck. We can go ahead and do this. Industrious Incisors for 3, hopefully a Dark Energy to discard. No Dark Energy, but we are going to be able to bump this Path to the Peak, and we kind of have to research this hand away here. Gonna go for a Trekking Shoes, see if we can get anything. Twin Energy will absolutely take. And another Trekking Shoes here. Grab a Caterpie, we do need those as well. And I'm just going to Ultra Ball away this Bibarel and this Marnie, because we're most likely getting knocked out next turn. You need to know we have another Butterfree in here. We basically have one shot at this, and I think the best course of action here is to just grab ourselves a Alolan Rattata. And we're just going to go ahead and pass over to my opponent. So that way, if they have a boss, we're not, you know, completely screwed. But we have a lot of our important Pokemon prized, which really sucks. But we'll have to see what my opponent plays. Another Path to the Peak isn't going to hurt us too much. Old Cemetery doesn't really do much for us either. Crushing Hammer coming out could be devastating. Thankfully, they don't hit it. And they are going to play a Zinnia's Resolve. Just drawing a few more cards. Benching another Blissey, which means they don't auto-lose, which is, hey, that's okay with me. But I hope that they take out this Bibarel, which it looks like they're going to do, because there's not going to be a boss coming for my opponent. So we can get a clean Cynthia for 8 cards. Well, we'll see what we draw, but most likely 8 cards. My opponent's going to get an Yveltal out, which is a little bit scary for us, I must say. But we have the Darkness type energy to back ourselves up. We have to go all in here with the Alolan Raticate and hope that we get the Caterpie combo off. We get the Butterfree, so we just need a Metapod to help us out here. We're going to go for this Cynthia. We do get the Metapod, and we do get the energy, so that is excellent for us. We're just going to go ahead, get this Metapod out, play this Butterfree. I'm going to go ahead and poison, burn, and confuse my opponent. We can attach this energy here and scoop up this Butterfree just so it is not at risk anymore. Get rid of this Evo Incense. We'll put down another Rattata because we're going to need it. And we can go for the Super Fang here, putting 290 damage on my opponent and then knocking them out with the burn and the poison. This is exactly how the deck is supposed to work. We may have sacrificed a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and draw a couple prizes here. Getting another Caterpie and another Metapod. Not the greatest prizes at this stage in the game, but we're leaving my opponent pretty confused here. I don't think there's actually a way they can knock us out here, though the Yveltal would be a little bit devastating, but we definitely have energy to back ourselves up. We have at least 2 twin energy. We have 3 twin energies left in the deck, so they can Cry of Destruction all they want, but this Yveltal is getting knocked out this turn. They're gonna have the double turbo going for another Zinnia. My opponent is in a tough spot. All their hyper potions seem to be gone. They get another Blissey down, and they're gonna Cry of Destruction and just get rid of this twin energy from our Alolan Raticate, which is okay, because we can just go ahead. We'll get our whole combo down here, so we can at least stall a little bit more. Worst comes to worst. We'll Evo Incense and grab Alolan Raticate. Now I'm debating, do we play the Caterpie down? There is really no need, so we just go for a research here and see what we get. We do get the twin energy, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Can attach this twin energy here and go for the Super Fang, knocking out my opponent's Yveltal just like that. No harm whatsoever. Now the only thing we are going to need here is we got to find another Scoop Up Net. We've used 2 so far, and I think we have 2 in deck if I checked correctly. Plus we can Boss or Cynthia or whatever. So we have a sound strategy going, and as I was saying earlier, I don't think it's actually possible for this Blissey to knock out our Raticate, which makes me sad, because if we don't get this Butterfree, I should have kept that Zigzagoon earlier. My opponent grabbing down a Miltank isn't going to help them too much. The Crushing Hammer, thankfully not going to do any damage to us here, which means we can actually start powering up our other Raticates. We just need to get a Scoop Up Net to secure this knockout, and it's looking very good for us, but it's still going to be a tough battle ahead. My opponent loading up on energies here. We get a Dark Energy, which is really good. We can start powering another Raticate up. We have 2 Scoop Up Nets left, and we have a bunch of twins and so forth. So we should be able to take the dub here. We're going to spread out our energy a little bit, considering we have 2 twins left, but no Dark Patch. And we are going to bench this Bidoof just for the extra draw, because we need to hit that Scoop Up, and we thankfully hit it, taking this Butterfree into our hand, putting it back down, and then the Super Fang is going to come out and destroy my opponent's Blissey V. Now, I actually think there's no possible way we can lose this game, because we have 7 cards left in deck and we have the Research in hand. We also have the Boss if we need it. We have to hit our Scoop Up Net this turn, like our next turn coming up. Another Boss if we need it. Yeah, we have 3 Scoop Ups done. We're in a really good spot here. Twin in hand. We have our energy spread out on the board. This Raticate might get knocked out. My opponent's going to Research away, which means no Boss on the Butterfree, which could have been our only downfall here. But it looks like our Alolan Raticate Butterfree deck is going to be putting in the work. They're going to go for the Blissful Blast here, knocking out our Raticate, but that's okay because we have the secret weapon. We have the Professor's Research to draw through our deck, and there's nothing Blissey can do against our completely broken strategy. Can attach this Twin Energy, go for the Professor's Research, drawing through our entire deck, grabbing this Scoop Up Net. And my opponent is probably dumbfounded, thinking, what did I just play against right now? Well, better get used to seeing this, because this deck is crazy good, and you know, there's nothing that can stand in its way apparently. Just destroying this Blissey V with Super Fang and Butterfree. Just like that, we're going to take our last prize, which actually didn't end up being too big of a deal this game. But, you know, that was a very good game. It just showcased exactly how this deck is supposed to function. So what did you think of my Alolan Raticate and Butterfree deck? That deck takes one-hit KOs on any Pokemon. It takes a lot to get this deck set up, but once you get rolling, you become basically unstoppable. This deck is so much fun to play. A little bit frustrating at times, albeit, because, you know, there are some things that a lot of things need to go right in some scenarios where other decks can just push a button and instantly win kind of thing. But this deck is really fun, and it's a really good mental challenge, I must say. Now, this is the part of the video where I discuss changes I'd make to this deck. And after playing it with it for a while, then recording this video and playing with some more, I have a couple of changes that I think could actually make the deck a lot better. One, I find myself not really using Old Cemetery, but it's important to have a stadium in here. One of my friends once told me that you should always have at least one stadium in your deck, even if you don't really need it, because you can bump your opponent's stadium and that can harm them, or that stadium can help them more than having one stadium in your deck will harm you, if that makes sense. So I think the stadium of choice should actually be Turffield Stadium here, because you can get your Metapods and Butterfrees, the missing pieces that you need, a lot more consistently. The Old Cemetery accomplishes the same thing as the Zigzagoon, and the Zigzagoon is really easy to get out. Now, another issue I ran into was actually having Crobat prized, having Zigzagoon prized, or having a single Bidoof prized. So I think another very, very important addition to this deck will have to be a Hisuian Heavy Ball. That definitely makes this deck, that would make this deck 10 times better, because you could instantly know what you're missing and grab it very, very quickly. And other than that, I think the deck is very, very solid. Another thing that you might want to consider is like cutting down on some energy, or leaning more into the dark patches and like getting rid of the capture energies, for example. Like, the energy is a little bit of an issue with this deck, which makes me think that it might actually be better off played with Cherum in it as well. And instead of dark energies, just using Cherums to accelerate energies to your Pokemon could be a lot better than having to just hope for good draws off your energies. Like, I tried this with the Cinccino engine, I tried it with the Inteleon engine, I tried it in a bunch of different ways, and no way really, didn't find any other way much better than this one. The last addition I have to this deck is actually a Crobat VMAX. It's really, really good to have a big beefy attacker, not only to stall out your opponent, but to actually put poison, because Crobat V and Crobat VMAX can both actually poison your opponent, and Crobat VMAX can actually switch back in onto the bench to put it out of harm's way. So that's another choice that I would consider putting in this deck. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, putting out more content. You know, every week I'm trying to go for 2 times a week, like I said. It's very, very fun to make these videos, and I love the Pokemon trading card game, and I'm happy I get to make content for it. So like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below your thoughts on this deck. What do you think? What can be improved? What can be changed? This deck can definitely have some improvements, I will be the first to admit. But there's a lot of ways you can play this card, and I think that marks the sign of a great card, because you can play it however you want. And you can do a bunch of different strategies to see what works, what doesn't work, and what you enjoy the most, which is the most important thing. And last but not least, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, new content coming out very often. I got a lot of cool decks cooking up in the oven. And with all that said and done, Hitmonchanting out.